Listen, a lot of women, especially black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will. Black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black
Yeah.
men. If you can find love, if that man works at whatever job and is a good man, that's not somebody who's beneath you. That's
Yeah.
somebody who came to love you at your worth, right? And as
Yes.
long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill, as long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm gonna cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, that is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, but Tyler Perry is a billionaire. He can afford to have his man just pay the light bill. The rest of us need a man that can pay bills.
True, absolutely, man. For real though, man.
Tyler Perry can have 4 or 5 little boy toys at the crib, not paying no bills. He can afford that. The rest of these women can't do it. And so,
It's really not fair to single black women out with that sort of rhetoric, because I can't blame anybody who wants a certain type of lifestyle. Like if they doing for themselves, they making a good living for themselves, they're making like 100 plus. If I want to have like $1 million home and I need a partner who can help me with this. So no, I can't date somebody who's making like 20, 35K. Like no, because it's not ridiculous for me to ask for somebody who's comparable to me, financially speaking. I have an issue with people who just take and take and take. And there are a lot of women that, well, let me not say a lot of women, but I've ran into some women who just have the mindset of just take. That's where I have an issue with. It's like, nah.
It's a red flag.
Do you still believe that, we can and should live life without like anything, quote unquote, like bad or negative happening?
I mean, yeah, man. Like, what? It's no reason for us to there's no reason for us to have sad shit happening in life. Like, if your life is good, like, rich people don't go, let me. Actually, no, maybe I'm contradicting myself, because I was going to say rich people or people who have like good lives don't go like, what would it be like if I just couldn't pay my bills? Like, what would it be like to just go be hungry for a little bit, you know? What if I couldn't pay for my kids' chemo? Wouldn't that be nice? Like, just a little bit of adventure, a little bit of razzle dazzle. But at the same time, I do think, maybe some level of adversity is kind of nice. But like, when I think of adversity, I think of hard work. And everybody does love a struggle story, but no one actually likes struggle.
Struggle.
Like,
I do know some people that like kind of. There are some people that kind of like thrive in it, that like, because it's a challenge. You know what I mean? But what you're describing, like, poverty, famine, like, of course, like, no, like, that's drought. I don't believe in that. That's not what I was going with it.
Okay, what's the specific situation? Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
It's like, well, just how kind of like things happen. Like, life gives you roadblocks. Life gives you challenges or tests. And, it's things that you have to overcome. Or just like you said, just to boil it down into one word, adversity. Not being like poor and destitute and starving for, all your life or whatever. But, is because like those things do actually, if you approach it correctly, if you like actually go through it, or like, once you get through it, you actually do learn a lot. Like a lot of times, like those be when you learn like, your most valuable lessons.
I don't even like school like that. Like let me backtrack. I agree. Yeah, no, you know what? Yes. I think that, because it's like a video game. Like a video game that's too easy is not fun. But a video game that's too hard is also not fun. So I do feel some level of challenge for the game element of life, of like, because this is what you want in life. What you really want in life is to have challenges that push you to be greater and that you are capable of overcoming. Like challenges that teach you how strong you could be without fucking your life up. Kind of the way that people say like, oh, God only gives you what you can handle kind of shit.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is necessarily true, because obviously like life often, like very often, just completely fucks people up and they just don't ever get back up again. But in my life, I've had challenges and it's great. Like it's wonderful feeling like you have life handled. But in order to do that, you have to have something to handle. Like, oh damn, I got to figure out how to get my money up. I got to figure out how to get, how to find a girlfriend. I got to figure out how to, solve this problem or fix my leaky roof, or whatever it is. There is a lot of beauty to that. So yes, I think that if I just had a life where it was just no challenges, everything happened exactly how I wanted it, I never had to figure anything out, I never had to, sit down and make a plan and make a budget and figure out what the next steps are. Anything I can imagine happened. You're right. That probably would not be an enjoyable life. So yes.
Right. And I think that book, The Alchemist, like really encapsulated what you're describing perfectly. This is like a perfect analogy to just life. Guy goes on an adventure because he's like, this being at home isn't doing it for me. Like, this isn't fulfilling. Like, I need to really go out here and get it, do something better, do something with my life. Goes on an adventure. Good shit happens to him. Bad shit happens to him. Terrible shit happens to him. Great shit happens to him. And then like he ends up coming back home. Like, but it was just such a really good analogy to life. And we are powerful creators in that, and in the adversity. And just you never know how you struggle. What you gain from a struggle that you went through actually sets you up for success later on down in life. Of course, hindsight is 20/20, but when you're actually in it, you have no idea how this shit is going to play out. So that's where the anxiety, the fear, the terror, the scaredness comes from. So and that's not fun to deal
some
with
shit
necessarily.
that I definitely could be like, I could have done without that. Because you don't know why you're going through it. Because you might be going through some shit and be like, okay, on the other end of this, it'll actually have been a pleasant experience. So I think really the question is like, should life have challenge? Absolutely. Should life have suffering? I don't know about that. Because most of the challenges in my life, I'm like, I kind of relish the challenge. I'm like, oh, I like figuring some shit out. I got to figure out how to make this shit work. I got to figure out how to, make this pull this creative project off and pull people together and figure out what it's going to be and figure out we're going to get money and blah, blah, blah. And do that. That's cool. That's a challenge, but it's not suffering. Suffering.
Yeah.
I have had situations where I've suffered and I learned something about myself. I've learned to not make another mistake again. I've learned what to look out for. If you went back in time or gave me a reset button and was like, yo, would you like to have not experienced that shit? And hell yeah, take it back. I didn't need
that nigga would have pressed that button so fast that we wouldn't have been able to finish the sentence.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even figure out what the drawback was, but it'll erase all your time from that. I don't care.
Or you'll have erectile dysfunction for the rest of your life.
Well, okay, that's fine. Take it back. I don't care. I wasn't using it anyway.
I'll deal with it.
Was not using it anyway.
I can get a prosthetic nowadays anyway. They make dicks that you can put on your dick. It don't matter.
I've been it's modern technology. I've been taking Purple Chew anyway. Honestly, those erections were a bit of a problem in my life, so cool.
I'll tell you, damn those erections. Well, welcome everybody to Waving the Red Flag, the number one dating and live well and safe erection podcast in the universe. It's Josh, it's Eddie. So. For all your anime fans out there, you'll be happy to know that Alvin is actually in Japan speaking and consulting with Yoshihiro Togashi so that he will actually come out with a new season of Hunter x Hunter. So he will continue to work on the manga. So you guys will be very happy to know that. And we are praying that he does well in this role. So Alvin will be back maybe next week. So we should be seeing him soon. Eddie, my guy, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
My gabron, my Paison, how you doing?
Come on.
What can I come to you humbly.
Coming through me, yo, I feel it, man. Let me tell you, my guy, I'm feeling fulfilled like a fucking ganoush. You know what I mean? Or a fucking cannoli. Fucking cannoli. I got cream up to the top. That's how I'm doing tonight.
A cup runneth over.
My cup They tell me how can I pour from an empty cup? I never had an empty cup. I don't know shit. I'm just pouring there.
It can never be me. It can never be me.
It could never.
2 cups Johnny. That's what they always call me.
That's what they call me, shit. I was the original, you know what I mean? I was the impetus for the whole 2 girls, 1 cup type situation. But it was a little different the way I did it.
Yeah, but it was 2 cups and 1 girl.
Yeah, exactly. And both the cups were mine. Not going to tell you what was in both of those cups, though.
We keep a bitch thirsty around here, all right?
A bitch might be thirsty, but she'll never go on. Not tell you that much, Johnny.
Oh, shit. What we talking about?
Shit. Man, we talking Oh, man. Oh, yeah, the Tyler Perry thing, bro. It looks like Tyler Perry might be landing himself in some hot water with some spicy takes that he's made about black women. And we all know, whenever you mention black women, you better be ready for that goddamn heat.
He right, though.
But, yeah, I mean, look, let's get into it. You want to roll the tape? You want to roll the tape?
Okay, let's see.
Listen, a lot of women, especially black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will.
Oh, he knew he was fucking up.
In our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men, right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job, and is a good man and is good to you, and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill, as long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you handle the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then, that is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in, because that means, no, I need somebody to, they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have, well, go on, keep your list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you, hope it happens. Go on, keep your list. But when you talk about just someone to love you and support you, I know people whose men can't touch what they make. But when you see them together, that love, that support, that I got you, babe, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a whole lot of caveats, but that nigga's right.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of caveats in that, and it's a whole lot of caveats because it kind of goes back to that Ebony K. Williams conversation we had with FD a little while ago.
Black manosphere niggas like to say that black women don't want black men. They don't want to be submissive. They want every man to be a corporate thug with a 10-inch penis and like a 5,000.
I'll at your boy.
And a 5,000 word vocabulary, a 5 million word vocabulary at 5 degrees.
I got 2 out of 3. Guess which?
So like that's not. He said, Rich Johnson's like, nah, just one. So that's just not true, right? That's not true. The reality is, black women, if they're dating black men and they're educated,
where she was saying that she wouldn't necessarily date the bus driver. Like, she wants somebody who is, financially, competitive with, like, not like, we're fighting against each other, but like, we're around the same ballpark.
Same level.
You kind of got like a boss mentality, like, you got your own things going on, like you can contribute to what I'm providing as well. But I know a lot of people heard that and got mad.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. What did you see?
Just like a lot of vitriol, a lot of anger that I was not expecting in response to this. Like I saw somebody that we follow. So she was like, "Why are and every time these conversations come up, here come niggas saying the black community is the only community having these conversations. White women, Asian women don't." And it's like, bro, y'all motherfuckers don't know no Asian or white people, because I promise you, they having these exact same conversations.
Oh my God!
Like either behind closed doors, or they've already come to conclusions about these conversations. I promise you, But she basically said, only black women are expected to choose poverty in these conversations, and I'm like, again. Lots of caveats. We'll get to that in a second. But referring to dating poorer men, dating financially down. But it's like, first of all, no. I promise you, white women been doing this. The last prime minister of New Zealand, her husband is a goddamn construction worker. She's the head of state. They've been doing this. Like, it's and it doesn't have to be made into a competition thing, but I think because we're in, like, black folks get into our black folk bubble, we don't think all of a sudden that everybody else isn't doing the exact same shit. And I think it goes to something else that I see a lot, which is that Twitter will be like, "Oh, black people always have a drawer that got a bunch of random shit and some like grocery bags," and it's like, actually everyone has that. That's not actually
everybody. A lot of people, a lot of other races got that same drawer. It's just So you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, because I'm not surprised at all that people got upset, offended, because it's just a continuation on this very toxic conversation that, and this is not what Tyler Perry said, but I think when people hear it, it's like, oh, black women, when they talk about dating women in general, it's like, oh, they always have this list. Oh, my man needs to make this amount of money. He needs to take care of me, like meaning like he needs to finance my entire life. And I think that's kind of where that anger stems from, or just the anger at the expectation of it. Even though that's not necessarily what he was saying per se, it's just like, no, if you make a lot of money, if you can like afford and finance yourself, you're basically doing the same shit that you would basically like just flipping the role of that you would expect the man to do. And you know,
and nobody would say, "Oh, that man is choosing poverty in this context."
Yeah, right. Like no one is asking you to choose poverty. Like I think like a lot of times like it kind of gets taken like way out of context and just go way left and like run a whole mile with it. Because I don't think that's what any like sane and logical person is like asking of any woman or any black woman. Is, oh, now you have to choose poverty.
And you know what? I will say his example was stupid because. For the sake of making a nuanced argument, because I could see him trying to soften the language to not blow it out into like only the extremes. But I see somebody on Twitter say, okay, but Tyler Perry is a billionaire. He can afford to have his man just pay the light bill. The rest of us need a man that can pay bills.
True. Absolutely, man. For real though, man.
Tyler Perry can have 4 or 5 little boy toys at the crib, not paying no bills. He can afford that. The rest of these women can't do it. And so
I've searched the world for the sexiest black men alive, and I found them, my shirtless men. And Jesus was pleased.
I didn't know religion worked like that.
For one, I think a lot of those conversations really talk about a specific type of person. Whether that be a person that's in a specific tax bracket, mind you, the vast majority of us, man, woman, he, she, they, them, ain't fucking there. Even though a good bit of people within that majority of people who want that sort of type of person ain't there to be at that financial level anyway. But like, they be talking about like a certain type of person that already got it, and then 2, another type of person that don't got it but want it. But that's not, and then that conversation gets conflated so much to where we're getting brainwashed into thinking way more people have that mindset than actually do. I haven't dated any woman in real life that was on some like, nah, you take care of everything type shit. And if I did run across a woman like that, I wouldn't even like pursue it, wouldn't even entertain it because cool, we're not compatible. I ain't doing that. I ain't got it. And even if I did have it, I wouldn't do it.
But I mean, you've talked about this being something like an expectation. But let me approach it from a different perspective, which is that somebody has pointed out that women in general, but black women specifically, have really already been on this type of time. And this is a point that I think Alvin brought up on Twitter, which is that the gap between us and black women has always been smaller than with other races. And I do think that Tyler Perry makes a good point that I think that for some circles, like right now, our gap is already small, and it's already been pointed out that gap is going to reverse in the next, 20 years. But I think that in some circles, it's already reversed, which is what I think Tyler Perry is talking about. Because he kind of misquotes. Like, black women aren't making, on average, more than black men, but it is quite close. But in certain circles, But in certain circles, I think it's already there. I think if you're in tech, if you're in, the social science, if you're in certain areas, it's going to be quite difficult. And Alvin's talked about this. This is why he's a rare bird. If you're a black woman who is a high-level earning professional, it's going to be harder up there to find another black man. I've seen plenty of podcasts just talk about it. It's fewer and fewer of us once they start getting up into those high level, she's a doctor, she's a lawyer, she's a consultant, she's in tech, she does, data science or whatever. When she gets up into that C-suite level, it's fewer and fewer black men up there. So at the medium level and the low level, sure, our incomes are probably comparable, but once you're making them high 6 figures, it's not a lot of males up there, black males up there. So in those situations, then what Tyler Perry is talking about. And I just went off on some different shit. But what I was getting at is black women have kind of already been paying half the bills and splitting bills and all that kind of shit. So I think the problem is that there's this conversation where women's worth is tied to how much money is spent on them by a given man. And so it's like, oh, if my man's not taking care of me or paying the bills, then that means I'm not loved or I'm not worthy or something like that.
Or
and
you're going to be looked down on by other people if they learn the dynamic of your relationship. So there's also that Damn, then that
So
creates
you're
like a
kind of
keeping up with the
trapped.
Jones like
Exactly.
mindset too when it comes to dating. I didn't think about that.
And I think so I think there's a pressure on women in general, but maybe black women specifically, to be like, oh well, if this, because it's like with that like with the desirable truth video of like, why would he marry you if he's already getting the benefits shit.
So why would he put a ring on it then if he's already getting everything?
That's a good question.
There's this, we've convinced women that marriage and money is love, and so if you're not getting those things, then you're not being loved. And so it's a bit of a trap, because you might be getting those things and not be getting loved. You might be getting loved and not be getting those things. And so, but if you can convince women that it's those things that instead, then you can convince women that marriage is what it isn't. You convince them to take a losing bet or a losing investment. But I think Alvin made a very good point actually on Twitter, which was just that since black women have already been doing this and have already been paying half the bills in real life, not on this internet shit, that's already been the case. The conversation should be a lot less focused on black women adjusting their so this is one of the caveats now. Black women, it should be a lot less focused on black women adjusting their unrealistic expectations of men's financial contribution, and should be a lot heavier on what are men in these relationships, which already exist, going to do to show up to actually meet, to do the things that Tyler Perry is describing, meet you at your worth and be here and give life and light to the relationship. So it's like, cool. Are you taking care of the baby like you're supposed to? Are you fixing shit in the house how you're supposed to? Are you cooking and cleaning and doing blah, 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 whatever in the household?
Safe space?
Are you providing a safe space? Are you doing half of the labor so that she's not, bringing home the bacon and having to cook the shit and thaw it when she comes into the house every day? But that's not a conversation that really is happening at all. It's all about women's unrealistic expectations, but really no conversations are being had that I'm seeing about, okay, so once she does pay more of the bills or pay half of the bills because she's spending more money, what are you then bringing to the table? That conversation isn't happening. And I think
it's not happening at all. You're right. That conversation is not happening at all. And then like both of you and I would say, like, it's something that black women are historically already been doing. Like, they've already been taking care of the home. They've already been in the workplace, contributing financially to the home. That hasn't been out of the ordinary. Like, you know what I mean? But there is a conversation. There is a conversation that is needed for how can men step up so we can, for one, keep up with this moving and changing economy that's clearly fucking everybody over. How can we like secure our
different now?
How can we secure ourselves, and how can we be providers and matching what the women are doing? And a lot of times Alvin mentions that black women are getting all these degrees and da 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 da. That's like following like one path for to possibly gain like more financial income. But that's not the only path. Like, guys don't, a lot of people, school ain't for everybody. Like, niggas brothers, you don't have to go to school and get all these degrees. Find a trade. And if that trade ain't, like, you can make a lot of good money by having a trade, opening up your own, like, little, go get your LLC, my brothers. You know what I'm saying? With your trade.
Or get a good union job, Yeah,
like, but there's a lot of ways in which you can make money that don't involve necessarily becoming, getting a degree. You can go after certifications. There's a bunch of different certifications. So there is, I do think that as black men, and there are a lot of good black men like that's actually doing that work. But I live in Atlanta, so I see like a visual representation of it. So I might be a little bit spoiled in that regard because I see it a lot. So I might be actually kind of spoiled in that. But there's a lot of ways in which that we can continue to progress ourselves and continue to progress our finances and be better partners. And not saying that there's not areas for improvement for women to be better partners too, but for black men to have that conversation, there's plenty of ways that we can have the conversation to be, how do we become better partners for our women or your partner, depending on whatever you like.
Y'all not gonna give me this episode,
I'm just trying to make it as inclusive as possible.
Hey, you're right. I mean, but to be fair, this is I think it's a man-woman conversation, because I feel like the days and the gays and the hays, they kind of got this. They've got a different situation, but I also think they probably, if I had to guess, got way more egalitarian households in terms of finances and taking care of household shit than we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they situations are probably more sorted than us.
I think so. I think there's a lot less ego behind it too, and a lot less expectation than a lot less ego, a lot less expectation behind it. But I have seen certain instances where it's like, oh my God, I was dating men and then I was like, fuck it. Oh, I hate men so much. But I'm attracted to girls. Let me go on some dates with girls. And then they find themselves in the role of someone that with more masculine energy and then being looked at to take on those responsibilities, such as who's paying for the first date. Like you kind of come into that, oh my God, she wanted me to pay for everything and da-da-da. She wanted me to do X, Y, Z. These are normally the things that I would request from my partner and I'm being asked of it. This is being asked of me. Like,
what? I wanted to date a girl. I didn't want to be a nigga. What the fuck is this?
I wanted to date a girl.
This is for the niggas.
Right? What the fuck? I could never.
No, you're 100% right. Queer motherfuckers definitely end up on the same type of bullshit as like gendered bullshit as us. Because I've heard studs all the complaints that niggas have about women. I've heard studs make the exact same complaint. Like, she's really like she's expecting me to do X, Y, and Z, da 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 da, and I'm like, man. But also
it's funny.
they
it's
bullshit
funny,
the
bro.
same way too. It's hilarious. They bullshit the same way too. I was working with a girl who was on the masculine side, and she was complaining about her dating life, and half of it was shit where I was like, and the other half I was like, you really kind of being a fuck nigga though. Like,
you're right. You're right.
Like the way she was complaining was so just mannish. I was like, yeah, we really didn't change anything. It's just the same dynamic and the same problem. So that's a fair point. So yes, let's include the masks, the femmes of all genders in this. That's you know what, you're right.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, like it's still kind of like funny to me because like even if like because I know like I've been some studs like in real life, and when they talk about how they approach women or like it be sounding mad niggerish, you know what I mean? But then like the stuff, the things that they complain about, that like if you say to any guy like in like I legit mean like a safe space for guys, if you say the shit that our legitimate complaints or like areas of improvement that women can make when dealing with us. When I just find it so funny when like other women say the same shit to us and we all just look at each other like, yeah, oh, this is
yeah. But no, I think it's good, and I think that's probably a good place for that conversation to be had, because I do think that people have fucked up expectations of men specifically, but just to your point, in general, masculine presenting people. Like girls who are dating studs oftentimes don't accommodate their emotional well-being the same way they would like a feminine, lesbian. So, and I've seen that shit happen. So that's facts. But wait, why do we get on that? Because I was going to say something.
We got way off topic. Okay, we was talking about the Tyler Perry thing.
Yeah, because it was something about for men and for women, and then anyway, I'm just gonna make this point. We'll see if we come back to it. But I think where Tyler Perry fucked up is saying if he pays just the light bill, because I think that was a dumb thing to throw in there.
Yeah.
Because it made it seem like the niggas just shouldn't be contributing anything. I would say unless you've got a very expensive light bill, like if you're dating a guy who makes $35K and you make $500K, and the light bill at y'all's mansion is he can just barely get it with his job. Okay, cool. And if he's taking you out on dates and stuff. Right, if it's $1,500 a month, then cool. Maybe he just gets the light bill. Y'all got mad chandeliers and shit. Okay, cool. And maybe that's what. Because again, Tyler Perry is a fucking billionaire. His light bill probably is something that a nigga making $35K
something ridiculous,
could just barely pay. But
yeah,
I think if you go, hey, look, I'm making a lot of money as a black woman. The men that there are men that I'm interested in or attracted to, but they're not. They don't have multiple umpteen degrees, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to be able to meet me here. Cool. We can make a prorated contribution to this relationship, I think is fair. Because the whole conversation of like, you don't want to support your partner. And you made this point of like, y'all are looking down on men who are potentially in the role that you are actually seeking to be in. So when a black man wants his partner to support him financially while being a good partner, it's choosing poverty. But when you want the same thing, it's just looking for a provider. Okay, there's a little bit of nonsense double standard here. But I think the way forward is to go, okay, what is an egalitarian relationship setup that can work for everybody across all types of gender dynamics? Right. And so there is, look, give what you can. and don't look down on people who have a different financial situation to you, and don't block your blessings. So if you're, making 150K a year, your man is making 35K, you can prorate that. Now, realistically, that's not going to be just the goddamn light bill. Realistically, it's probably going to be slightly less of the rent, especially if you want to live in a place that he wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. But if it's light bill, all the groceries, and every date night, that's probably racking up plenty to where he's making a contribution that is based on what he's bringing to the table financially. And then we have a conversation about contributing to the household based on that, income and all that. So, yeah, I wouldn't have gone with just the light bill, but the general point, back to agreeing with Tyler Perry, I think is a very, very fair one, specifically to those women who are looking only for someone financially that is their financial better, to the exclusion of everything, which, to our point, isn't everyone, and maybe not even most.
Yeah, because I think that's like really the crux of the argument that you might need to make clear, because people will hear that and then not, and just like, what the fuck? Oh, I need to live X, I need to live here. Da, da, da. But one thing I might have to oppose a little bit of opposition, or provide like a little bit more nuance into that, because at the end of the day, it's really not fair to single black women out with that sort of rhetoric, because I can't blame anybody who wants a certain type of lifestyle. Like if they doing for themselves, they making a good living for themselves, they're making like 100 plus, they can afford to do whatever. And I think this is where like the sentiment that they express, or like, oh, it's just choose this or poverty. I think that where the sentiment comes from is like, no, what the fuck if I want to have like $1 million home and shit is just getting crazy expensive? Like $1 million home could just be strictly off a location. The house might not even be more than 3,000 square feet, and I need a partner who can help me with this, or who can go in on this with me. And not even so. No, I can't date somebody who's making like 20, 35K. Like, no, because this is how I know where I want my life to be. This is where I know I want to live, and it's not ridiculous for me to ask for somebody who's comparable to me, and financially speaking, and is also sane enough to take care of me emotionally, spiritually, look out for me. I serve you, you serve me. I have an issue with people who just take and take and take. And there are a lot of women let me not say a lot of women, but I've ran into some women who just have the mindset of just take. That's where I have an issue with. It's like, nah, you gotta goddamn put in on something around this motherfucker, because like,
yeah, because you're being a leech.
Yeah, like I'm not for leeches, bro. Like that's not what I'm doing. Because if they on that type of time, that ain't happening. Like, no, we just not compatible. I'm not gonna shame you. You can keep your, like Tyler Perry was saying, you can have your list if that's your mindset. Cool, and see how that works out for you. But see,
here's my because I agree with all that. Like, back to the Ebony K. Williams thing. I agree with all of that. Like, I think if you have goals in mind for what you want with the life part, because it's not just a romantic partner, it's not just a sexual partner, it's a life partner. So you're making plans. So you're going, here's what I would like to accomplish with my partner. I want to build this business. I want to get this home. I want to get these type of sinks and these type of countertops. And having a person who can't meet a certain level of financial obligation is going to hinder those things. Cool. That's not a non-issue. And I think that's where a lot of people fall. Where I then have a big issue is once you start looking down on people who don't meet your standards. So this goes back to standards and preferences. It's fine. I think it's fine to have, like, if you say, look, I want a 6, if you say all of that shit, like all of the cartoonish red pill podcast nigga, versions of what a woman wants. I want a 6 foot tall with a 10-inch dick and, making $250,000 a year and da 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 da. Even if those are things that you want, I think that's actually fine. As long as you're not acting like men who aren't that thing are somehow evil, inadequate, disgusting, etc., etc. Yeah. And I find a lot of that, like a lot of what Ebony K. Williams, a lot of her rhetoric in response to the initial comment of being like, no, I don't want to date a bus driver, and I don't have to because I make a lot of money, and I want to be in a situation where my partner doubles my income, not just meets 10% of it, because I want to be able to buy a house that is at that level. Cool. But once you start, using that rhetoric that shits on working class people, then we have a problem. So I agree with all of that.
All right. Well, you already brought this up, so let's switch to like the desirable truth thing with the guy who What's that? Would you marry? Why would he marry you if he's already getting the benefits?
Man, because I was arguing about this on Twitter, or not even arguing,
Did you want to pull
discussing
that video
probably.
up? Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
sure.
to cut you off.
No, please. I started talking without even goddamn bringing in context.
How long have you been together?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Has he proposed to you yet?
No.
No, not yet. It's coming. It's coming.
You guys live together now?
Yes.
A year and a half. Yeah.
So why would he put a ring on it then if he's already getting everything?
That's a good question. He's getting a wifey. Okay, you got it.
What?
Why would you put a ring on it if we already live together? If I'm already doing wifey shit.
I genuinely love you.
Oh. So when you plan on proposing? You starting something.
Why do I need a ring to
If you love me, nigga,
show
you'll put a
you
ring
my
on it.
love and
Yeah,
dedication to
Beyonce
you when I
said
do
if
that
you
on
like
a
you,
daily
put a ring on it,
basis.
nigga.
A ring is making it official.
Yeah, there's no such thing as official. You love each other. It's just like
A ring is making it official.
everybody got their own opinion. So it's just like she's a female, so a female gonna have their own opinion anyway.
You're single until married, in my opinion.
That term don't mean shit to me at all. I'm being all the way
single until
authentic
married.
with you. I'm being authentic with you. I'm being 100 with you.
Yeah.
That term you just said
He got
don't
mad
mean
as fuck
shit.
just then, but he kept it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
When
think
he
I do
said
think
that
that's a
don't
crazy ass term, though. Like a saying.
You're single until you're married. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, we in public, but you really have me fucked up. Like when he was like, but the way he responded, I could tell he was infuriated.
Yeah, right. You gonna let this nigga drive a wedge between us like this?
So you're single now because I haven't proposed. Okay, now you really are. But also, old boy he's not very articulate.
No.
Like he seemed like he was either half drunk or just a little bit. He's not really good with words. So he was struggling to articulate a lot of his feelings.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give him a lot of leeway in my take on this because I don't think that I think he was on the back foot that whole conversation where she had a lot more, and she had an instigating nigga like next to her with a mic. So it
Bro,
just
that was
came
such a
across
bullshit question. Like that was such a bullshit question to ask that couple. Like that was clearly for clicks, views, to be divisive,
Oh,
be
yeah,
controversial, like controversial. Like, but yeah, go ahead.
But I saw a lot of women agreeing with it, and I understood I understood to an extent where they were coming from. But I think by convincing women that money and marriage are love, that's how we convince women to continually take on a losing investment, which oftentimes is marriage. Being in a relationship where your partner doesn't actually show up for you and actually doesn't take on house labor, doesn't take on emotional labor, doesn't take on child labor, because we've been convinced that a relationship between a man and woman is a transactional purchase, with some old school purchasing a cow. And if you're a good, worthy woman, the man will buy you. And it's red pill logic, but it's just repackaged in a way that is very palatable to women. Like if you watch any of Desirable Truth's content, he's very much a red pill content creator. Every single watch any clip from him, it's very clear what ideology he's on, and this is more of this. This is not. I promise you, this is not pro woman content at all. So I think it's a very enticing rhetoric that seems like, oh yeah, men need to do better, but it's like it's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is at all.
Yeah, I'm not really that big of a fan of the institution of marriage in the first place. Like the older I get, and the more I've learned and just seen how marriage works, the ideology that people have behind marriage, I've seen how marriages end, how nasty, ugly it can get.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead.
You got paperwork in between you. You might mess around and be with somebody who just really wants to ruin you. And, it could be because their partner wasn't fair to them during the marriage, so they getting what they were owed on the back end,
Yes.
So it's just like the whole institution of marriage, I'm not even really a fan of. And if I'm being totally honest, I don't even know if I really want to get married in the first place. Now, does that mean I don't love my person? Does that mean I'm incapable of loving my partner? No, not at all. But and this shit is sad because like she got sucked, and I can tell like she's it's not like in a derogatory way, but I can tell like she has like a certain school of thought. You know what I'm saying? So I can see why she instantly took the bait of why he ain't married you? Because she was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm doing wifey duties already, and then I'm single until I'm married. Like, and I don't know what the nigga doing tonight. I don't know what he's doing for her.
That's the other thing. We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what she's doing for him. All we know is that they're living together. We don't know shit about their relationship off of that video just based on that fact, but we can just say between the conversation they had on camera. And that whole goddamn I'm single until I'm married shit don't make no fucking sense whatsoever.
I think that was probably taken out of context, like too. Like that was probably chopped up to like make the video even more divisive and that kind of shit. But
it's just the saying itself. Like the saying itself by itself exists.
Ridiculous.
You know what I mean? Like, cause like, what does that mean? So you don't believe in monogamy until you get married? Like you could have been on a date or with someone else last week when we've been together for 3-4 years dealing with each other. So really what you're saying to me is I can actually cheat.
Yeah.
Because if a nigga really took it like to that level, if we're really single until we're married, and if the expectation is, okay, well, if you're single for real, I must be single for real too, because we're not married. I haven't proposed, you haven't proposed to me. But if he went out and cheated and you knew about it, like you would be mad, you would think that you was disrespected, like it would be a no-go. That would be a violation of a social contract of monogamy.
Of course,
So
because we're in the modern
makes
era. It ain't
sense.
1950 no more. Like, come on. We're not in a time where people go straight from, living in their parents' house to courting to marriage. Like, people are living complex lives across different borders. They're moving to new cities for new jobs. It's very normal in the modern context to go through you do a talking phase. You do, okay, now we're exclusive. Now we're monogamous. Now we cohabitate. And I think that part of this is the problem. We're trying to get back to traditional values, or we still tie our work to traditional values, but we don't live traditionally anymore. And we shouldn't, because the traditional shit was some bullshit. It was treating people as property. Women didn't have no rights. Women weren't expected to be parts of the household. Men weren't expected to contribute to anything about the emotional element of a home. So the traditional shit was always some bullshit. But now we're in a situation where we're going, oh well, we should marry and da da da, but it's like, and we should be until death do us part. But realistically, I don't think that that's a virtue. Like, no, you live together, you're life partners with this person, you build things together, you decide, okay, do we want to have kids together? Cool, let's do that. Do we want to start a business together? Do we want to travel to another country? To what extent do we want to be a part of each other's lives? And let's have a concrete, specific conversation about this. But this place where you go, okay, till death do us part, is a recipe for fucking misery. And we already know that divorce and no contest divorce is legal anyway. So the idea that marriage like somehow solidifies the relationship for life is like, no, it don't. You could get divorced in 5 years anyway. I would honestly say being together with somebody for 10 years and having all of that relationship together where y'all have been, one another, like you all have been a supportive part of each other's lives, means way more than a relationship of 6 months with a marriage certificate. Like, come on, be serious.
Right. But people don't look at it that way. And I've said it before, like people.
I think most people do in real life, but yeah.
True that. So yeah, we are talking. Okay, well, what I was going to say was I still don't think a lot of people right necessarily take those vows that seriously, or really understand the impact of what marriage looks like, or just the expectation of marriage. Because a lot of people have the expectation of the subconscious expectation of marriage as a problem solver. That's gonna fix everything.
Right.
That's when we're married, the dynamics are gonna change. Like you're gonna be better. I'm holding you to a different standard. No, that's marriage don't do that. And then 2, people don't take them vows that damn seriously, because like I said before, if people really hurt until death do you part, if you really couldn't get a divorce, people would be hearing that shit a lot different. If you was really stuck with this person, regardless of how shitty he was, and you really thought that marriage was gonna fix this person, would you do it? if you could not get out of that marriage, if you could not get away from him or her,
that's dangerous. Like, why do we even want that? Why do we want somebody to not be able to leave us? Like, what are we trying to get? That's such a weird thing to want. Like, I want this person to have to pay to be able to leave me. Now, again, if we were in the past, I'm pro alimony in a situation where marriage robs you of your autonomy. And I do think historically that marriage has been a tool of robbing women of their autonomy, because it's like, cool, you're at home, taking care of kids, taking care of the household, cooking, cleaning, which women are still expected to do now. So I do understand being like, my marriage to you has been a financial burden for me. You think it's a financial burden for you because you're paying all the bills. It's a financial burden for me because I don't make the same kind of money as you, and I'm doing all of this work in the household. So when our relationship ends, you need to pay for that because I essentially supported your career as an unpaid labor in this household. Cool, I get that. In the situations where that's not the case, and where that's not needed, the idea of like financially securing this person is very weird behavior to me. That's a very weird rhetoric to bring into this. And this is another take that I'm gonna add in here. I think that this whole why would he marry you if he's already getting the benefits thing is all rooted in misogyny and slut shaming. So like this idea that men know which women they want to marry and they're just stringing you along for 5 or 6 years, but you're really not wifey material until they meet the woman who really is based in this idea that we say of men know if you're wifey material immediately. And that is, one, it doesn't allow men to be unsure or to look for safety in their relationships in the way that we expect everyone else to be allowed. But two, in order for a man to know right off the bat whether or not he wants to marry you, that means that he has to be able to categorize you immediately. And when we talk about categorization, we know what we're talking about. The red pill dudes are basically saying that a man is able to put you into the category of the Madonna or the whore early on in a relationship. And so when we convince women of that too, it's like your marriage or non-marriage is now somehow an indication of your worth, not just to this man, but in society. And it's a trick, I promise you.
That's a good point. What I will say though is there's been times, right, where I meet a girl and we like dating and we're talking. And this is like, very early. I was like, oh, damn, like she's super cool. Like she has a very good temperament. Like just things that I look for, like, like soft, a lot of soft skills that I look for. Like a lot of green flag soft skills.
Works well with others.
Dead ass. Bro, like for real, you can avoid a lot of red flags if you like look for like soft skills with people. Like if they how they treat their friends or like random strangers or like people who in the service industry. How's their attitude? Like, do they get an attitude easily with other people? But they treat you really nice. Like, you seem to be accept from this. It's like, it's only a time. Oh, it's only going to be a matter of time until they turn that shit on you, and you're going to have to deal with it. So you're seeing it right now. So you're seeing them, and it's only going to be a matter of time until it's you that is directed towards. So whatever. And I see like a lot of good, and I'm like, damn. I could see myself like possibly being in a relationship with her, like, doing something a little bit more long term because she has a lot of things that I like, or like just the vibe, the energy, like the soft skills. She's pretty. I'm attracted to her. She's attracted to me. Like we like each other. We get each other. We talk. If this continues, I could see myself possibly, being in something potentially like long term. That don't mean I'm thinking about marrying you. It's just in my head. Okay, the possibility for me to stick this through like longer. Versus someone who is just kind of like maybe like a fly by night or like, oh, they was just cool, but I can't really see it going nowhere type thing. But I've never said on the first meetup or like in the first month, first 2 months, first 3 months, oh, I'm about to marry this motherfucker. Never happened.
Never. Not
6 months, yes.
In age, never.
Yeah. When I was 17, 6 months, when I fell in love for the first time, I thought I was going to marry that girl.
We going to be together forever.
Right.
This my wife.
this my
forever home.
Oh, man, we're going to have such pretty kids.
Yeah, come on, man. So I don't think that, one, men operate like that. I don't think that anybody operates like that. And I don't think that people should operate like that. And I think that mutually, what do you call it? Just like a mutually free will relationship, meaning like we're here because we continually choose to be here, is ideal. Now, I do understand wanting security, but I don't think that you can ask for security, which is I want to make sure that this person hurts if they try and leave me. I don't think that's a good model for relationships. I think you go, look, if you want to say, hey, look, I don't want you to entertain other people. Let's move in together. Let's, get joint bank accounts, all of that kind of stuff. I think those are good things to indicate, okay, this person probably wants a future for me long term. But let's have a real conversation so we're not gaslighting the women who are of this thinking. What do we think marriage is there something that men are holding or that we are holding off from with regard to marriage that women are right to seek? Because back to a point that you made before, and one of the first thing I thought when I watched this video is, if the nigga is not doing husband duties before he's your husband, I promise you the ring is not going to change that at all. Like, what people do before marriage is what they do after the marriage. Isn't it? You don't you don't become So if this motherfucker is not doing this shit before the marriage isn't going to solve it. And if he already is doing it before the marriage, what is the marriage doing? And so that's my question of, like,
I got you.
Are men maybe withholding shit? Like, because maybe that's true. Maybe
totally
marriage is this thing that's being,
And I think it's some things that they might be withholding, but it's really more so, what am I giving up?
Yeah, okay. So what do you think that we're giving up that we're resistant to?
It could be like, because once again, like when it comes like the whole system of marriage, like there's a lot of times like there's a shift in mindset and the expectation, or just even like, okay, now that there's paperwork between us, if we get divorced, I might have to give you half of my nothing, or half of the little bit that I have, or whatever. So it's like, okay, yeah, right. And I think that's kind of like where some guys come in. I'm pretty sure I'm missing something, but I think a lot of guys like really kind of think about, okay, what am I giving up? And especially like if they cheating. But hell, if a nigga cheating on you while you're dating, shit. And that's that's actually a fucked up thing that men do.
Okay.
Because I've met niggas who have this mindset of it's like, oh yeah, I was cheating on my girl, and she didn't know, but I gotta stop the shit once I get married. And they'll stop for a while because I'm married. I'm a changed man. Like I'm a changed man. But it's not. So yeah, that's a thing. I've seen the shit in real life and even online on some online type stuff.
Okay.
Man. And then like after a while in the marriage or whatever, they'll probably like relapse and, man, I saw this girl and whatever. So I think if a nigga's fucked up, like if a nigga's like, cheating on his girl or whatever, I think, that's probably like one thing, if he's of that mindset, might think of something that he's giving up. But yeah, to your point though, I really can't think of what a woman would gain with the marriage, other than like some form of security and I use this word lightly, but power on the back end, like, because with divorce, unless you sound like a prenup or something like that, unless y'all can work something out. But a lot of times, like when it comes to like children, marriage, or divorce, it is more in favor of the woman a lot of the times versus the guy that's in that situation.
Yeah. There's some stats on that that's a little bit iffy that I've seen, where it's like it's not exactly what we think, so I'm not 100% sure, but still I fuck with your general point. Yeah, because I like, marriage seems like a bad bet for women, and like divorce seems like good for women, but marriage does not seem like a good bet for women in general. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like it's not good for, like, in terms of the way labor in the home, child rearing, finances, all of that shit. Marriage seems like a losing investment for women, but they seem to also be the main ones that want the shit and are being convinced that if they don't do it, that they're, losers and unworthy, and they're unwed, haggard spinsters, and like there's all this language that niggas use to scare women about the prospect of being unmarried and not being wifey material. And it's like, the shit don't even seem like a good deal for them.
I will say this: it's luckily that narrative is really changing a lot. Of like, oh, you're unwed, oh, something's wrong, you're defective, because like the niggas that use it against them are red pill niggas. And we do spend a lot of, because like niggas do a lot of bullshit, but we do talk negatively a lot of the times in terms of relationships against the men a lot of the times, often when we're having these conversations. But like it like good niggas do exist. Like I wouldn't say that generally marriage is bad for everybody, because like there are sane niggas out here. You know what I mean?
But,
people make it work.
Again,
but yeah.
Because I'm distinguishing marriage from an unmarried, long-term, committed, monogamous relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so what I'm saying is marriage as a distinct subclass. If you have a good marriage, you probably had a good relationship. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when I say marriage isn't a good investment, I'm going like, if you didn't have the relationship elements and you added, and marriage was the thing that changed, that doesn't seem like a good investment. It doesn't make a good relationship much better, and it makes a bad one worse. So is what I'm kind of suggesting.
Yeah, ladies, sound off. Why exactly? Why? Like, really peel back the layers. Why do you want to get married? Like, because that's, and that's a genuine question, because I know why I don't really. I know my reservations for really not wanting to get married, but it's like, if it's so important to you, like for real, like, why? And I hope you're not looking at it as like a solution. Or hell, even for niggas. Like, I hope no one looks at marriage as a solution to some shit, because as you just said, if you have a good marriage, 9 out of 10, you had a good relationship before the damn marriage even happened in the first place. So I think that's what else we want to talk about? Okay, you want to do the leg length in the surgery one real quick?
So how much did this procedure cost?
So
you went to Turkey, right?
Yeah, in Turkey for both together, it was like $81,000.
$81,000. You don't think you could have bought something else to make people be like, yo, I'm fucking with him, to make you feel confident?
It wasn't about them. It was about me. It was about the way I saw myself. Yeah, I don't care how other people see.
Did you see yourself short?
I did. I saw myself as a small man, and I hated it.
Do you know the average height in the United States?
5'9".
It's 5'7", I think.
It's 5'9".
It's 5'9". I'm sure you know. I'm not going to question you. I'm sure you researched it.
It's 5'9". So, and you went, what's your height now?
6 foot.
You pretty decent, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you was, you pretty tall, bro. Like, when I seen you outside of this, and I was like, yo, you pretty good height.
The funny thing is, I almost went for a third surgery until I saw how tall I was after the second one. After the first surgery, I was like 5'9.5".
So is it like a little rod that just could keep stretching if you wanted it to, or what?
Technically, but not exactly, because your body has limitations. So basically what happens is they break the bone, they put a rod in the bone, and then they put a device outside the leg that connects.
Yeah, man. You know what? I get it, man. But 80 grand is a lot, but like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's the BBL equivalent, because the return on investment on that motherfucker is probably very good. I think it could be a very high return on investment.
He went out. Did they say how tall he was?
He went from like 5'7" to like 6 foot, some shit like that.
Yeah, cause he was saying he was thinking about going for the third surgery or something like that to get like even taller. But bro, I ain't gonna lie. This nigga
got no structural integrity. He just wobbling in the wind.
Because he was,
lose leg.
Because I'm like, why is he sitting like that? Because I was like, yes, he sit on the couch like, yeah,
them legs
man,
don't work. Them legs don't work at all. He holding them legs.
Lose leg.
If he let go of that couch, that nigga just go.
Oh fuck.
But yeah, man, that's crazy though. Yeah, you're right. That is pretty much like the male BBL, bro. If like got beards and heights would be the beards, height, male BBL for sure. Yeah. 80 grand though. You can get a BBL for 10.
Well, we don't know. 80 grand might have been all the surgeries up together. Because if you could get 2 inches for 25 grand, that's a pretty good deal, man. Because going from like 5'10" to 6 foot, like we're bullshitting. I think that is probably worth it in terms of return on investment.
I don't know, bro.
I really think you could get a good return on investment off that.
You could, man. I don't think the return on investment would. I don't think that return on investment would be worth it. But
You don't
I'm
think so?
also over 6 feet. I'm also over 6 feet. So
Yeah, you don't.
I
You
don't know,
looking
baby.
down, but you
I'm sorry.
right? You don't know. That's you gotta. That's on some privilege shit. Like
True that. True that.
you
But
niggas
that's
just
a
need
lot
to
of
work harder. There's no such thing as white privilege.
Right.
I don't know why you keep bleaching your skin. Just work harder,
Just work
Tyrone. All
harder.
right, that's how I
Oh
got
my
here.
God, just get yourself a step ladder everywhere you go. It's not that difficult. You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Buy shorter furniture. It's not a problem.
Bro. See, well, my thing is though, like the recovery process, because the recovery process is more difficult than like the standard BBL. Because you gotta think, them niggas is actually stretching out. They disconnecting your bones and shit, and like stretching your shit out.
Yeah.
And then like how it looks too. You can't walk like that.
No.
Girls just
Forrest
can't sit
Gump.
on their ass, which is of course like a big issue too, because that's
That's the
almost
same
comical.
thing. That's the main
Yeah.
like not being able to sit down is very
Yeah.
similar to not being able to walk. Like think about how much time you spend sitting. If you really bro, if you
true.
really
Yeah.
couldn't, if you had to be standing or walking every time you needed to do something or laying on your stomach, you couldn't do most jobs. You have to take time off from work. It's the same shit.
That's a lot. That's a lot of time because like I think when the recovery process from that shit might be around a month, if not more. I'm thinking a month
For the legs or
minimum.
for the ass.
The legs for sure.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, with a BBL, hell, the recovery time might be around 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. I think they have like places that'll take care of you.
Yeah.
While after they have
you
like
heal.
post care like places for a BBL or some shit. And you be there for a couple weeks.
Or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But though for your legs, for them like stretch your shit out just so you can like gain a couple inches. I don't know. And then that amount of money, like the shit that you could have done with that amount of money, bro. Short niggas is out. They don't get a lot of love publicly, but short niggas be killing it. Like it's way more successful short niggas than it is successful tall niggas, bro. And not
That's
including
not,
the
you're
NBA.
just making up stats. That
Not
ain't
including
true.
the NBA, bro.
You just fucking lying.
Not
bro.
including the
What fuck?
NBA, cuz.
It's never been a president of the United States of America that was under 6 foot. Not one. Come on, bruh.
How many millionaires and billionaires are under 6 foot though?
I
I'm
would
not
say
just talking about running the
there's
country.
It's disproportionate 6 foot tall niggas that are rich. Only 15% of the population is 6 foot or up, right? But in billionaires and shit, that number is higher.
You mean like in terms of like tall
Yeah.
niggas being billionaires or millionaires?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
bro, like dead ass, bro. Like, cause most people with celebrity or wealth, fame, you'll be surprised how short they are in real life. Like a lot of them not really over 6 feet, and it's a reason why the average height is 5. He said 5'9" in the video.
Yeah. I think I'm just making that
So,
up.
yeah, I mean, come on, bro. And then like short. One thing about short guys,
Bruh.
a lot of them be
In
having
the
chips on their
US
shoulder.
population, about 14.5% of men are 6 feet or taller. Among CEOs of Fortune 500 countries, you want to guess what the percentage is, my nigga?
No, what's 60%, 50?
58. You were right on the goddamn money, just like a 6 foot tall
Good,
nigga. Y'all got to make. You knew it. You've been in the meetings. You got it right on the money.
Me and the CEOs, we be talking eye to eye when we meet each other. You know what I'm saying?
This motherfucker said it like it was a guess. Oh, I don't know, about 58.2%. 58%, bro. Come on, man.
But that's one area of success, though. That's just one area, bro. Like, it's many ways that you can be successful. I just said successful men that really get out to it. Like, more successful people, more people who was making well over 6 figures. I'd be interested to see that number. How tall are they? I don't think, and I would guess that I strongly believe that the majority of them is below 6 feet. And like 6 foot niggas,
which
bro,
one?
they got a certain tenacity about them.
Of actors or of who?
Actors, comedians, just your run of the mill business owner, not necessarily all CEOs, but like a nigga with an LLC that's just doing well across most career fields and striving. I'm just saying, like across most career fields, that men who are doing well, I think the majority of them are below 6 feet. Now, do they have some complexes? What's driving them? I think it might be like sometimes like a bit of a Napoleon complex, because like some of them dudes, bro, they be moving around through life with a chip on their shoulder, so they really got to go that extra mile, and it really be giving them the edge too.
See, this is that hustle culture shit. This is that slaves was happy bullshit. This is that work harder shit. It's bullshit, man.
Damn, I'm speaking from a place of privilege.
Exactly, bro. Come on, man. There's no such thing as white privilege. We just worked harder for our thing. Y'all got to stop spending so much money on rims and just get better jobs, bro.
Okay.
Yes, there are short men who are successful, and we make a point of pointing that out when that happens. But the stats say taller men are overrepresented among millionaires, billionaires, and successful politicians. Now, if you want to say that there are some short men who do quite well, cool. If you want to say that most men who are doing quite well are average height, also fair. But if you want to say that all of a sudden the stats are reversed, you got to give some evidence for that. You can't just be like, oh, most successful men are actually short based off nothing.
We do that shit all the time, nigga.
You trying to? Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Come on, man.
You bullshit because you don't want nobody else to be tall. You don't want nobody else to be tall.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like when I be around like niggas that's like a man, like a lot of niggas that's taller than me, I'm like, man, what the fuck is y'all niggas so tall for? Like, come on, why?
Get the surgery, bro. Get the surgery, bro. Come on.
Get the surgery. Yeah, I need.
Bump it up.
I need to be tall.
6'6".
Damn,
bro. 6'6" you. We wouldn't be able to tell you shit on this podcast. 6'6" you. Come on, man. It's like, and here's why I'm saying I think it's a good return on investment. Because one, I mean, I just did some quick Googling, so I don't know if these are real facts, but I'm looking at millionairematch.com. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. But I feel like the level of respect increase and like clout that you might get from that could be well worth more than 25 grand over the course of a career. Imagine you get that surgery when you're 27, 28. By the time you're 38, that might have paid itself back dividends. And like, because it's all the percentage shit. Yeah. Of course, depending on how you use it. But because it's all about dividends. Like, yes, of course, you can succeed and can be okay without certain privileges, but every little thing helps. You know, making an investment earlier, being more handsome, being prettier, being more articulate, being funnier. All of those little things, you can succeed without them, but each little thing helps, right? So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess I'm just, for one, I ain't got it like that. So I'm like, nigga, that's a lot of money. I could do a lot of stuff, but I'm also,
yeah.
But
you don't have that money, so you know.
But and we'll wrap it up after this. He did mention that it made him feel a lot better about himself too. You know what I mean? He didn't do it for the other people.
Bro. That nigga's a fucking liar.
He did it for himself.
Fucking liar. Nobody does anything like that for themselves. If you don't feel good about yourself until you change something external, it's for other people, period.
Which validates how you feel internally. That's
exactly
the second piece of that.
Because who the fuck told you that you were not adequate to exist in your own skin? I know it wasn't some shit that you came up with by yourself. You don't give a fuck about how tall you are in the apartment by your fucking self. You don't like looking up at other motherfuckers. You don't like the way women view you. Fuck out of here. He did it for himself.
I can understand that. If you got that 25K and you're willing to go through that recovery process, and then you can reap the benefits of having social and some possible heightened better career success by getting over that 6 foot marker. Hell, just getting 2 feet tall. Phenomenal. I ain't sweating. I ain't mad at it. I think that's pretty much that's pretty much been the show. Everybody, it's been Josh. It's been Eddie. If you're looking up everywhere you go, you might be seeing a red flag. And if you think that a woman's value is tied up in her merit status, then it might be you that's waving a red flag.
What's going on up there? What y'all doing up there? I need to get this.
I need a couple more inches, all right?
This motherfucking bro.
Oh, shit. All right. Shit. Yo, goddamn, y'all know I get tongue-tied. But yes, thank y'all so much for tuning in as always. Please do remember, like, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell. Click that notification bell. On Wednesday nights, come through to the live chats. Saturday nights, Wednesday nights, come through for the premiere. Saturday nights, come through for the live chat. And if you can, want to support more, remember you can subscribe to the Patreon, become a member on YouTube, or across all of our other social media platforms such as Spotify, YouTube, and am I missing something else, my brother?
Yeah, no, it's those three. YouTube, Patreon, Spotify. You can become a community member and get the full podcast experience, get our bonus episodes, join the live, join the Discord, all that good shit.
Bet. All right, we will see y'all next week. Peace.
That's it. Whoop. All right, and stopping recording.
It's a red flag.